He missed that check. He was so careful, Tanya. And Hikaru saves another game.
I cannot believe what we just witnessed. Levy, for me, that was the defense of the EWC this year. That save was the save of the Esports World Cup that we've seen. Fantastic stuff, but it's reset already, and this time Hikaru Nakamura has his final white of the match.
I think this could be the game. This could be the game, because I don't think Hikaru is going to play for a win with the black pieces, which means he's going to play for a win with white, which means he could lose. So this really could be the champion. And he goes for the same structure that he went for last time.
And I really didn't feel like in this last game that Denis had any problems to solve. In fact, if it was anything, we saw him maneuvering, shuffling his pieces around to perfection. The D4 square weak. Eventually, we saw all of it fall apart in the center. But Hikaru sticks to plan, and this time he just makes sure that he takes away the G4 square from the knight and the bishop. And once again, Hikaru getting ready to Fianchetto his bishop.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't go E4 on the first move, because Denis would have mirrored him. And I think it's easier to maybe get an open game that way. Like I said, maybe the Scotch or something like that. But, oh, and Hikaru's just unhappy with himself. He didn't throw in pawn to A3. He needed to kick out the bishop, Tanya, because now Denis got his pawn there instantly with no rook move.
And the reason that happened is because Hikaru's knight was pinned on C3. So a bit of a rush there by Hikaru, mixing the move order, gives Denis early counterplay in this one. Denis gives up the bishop for the knight, so the first imbalance, Hikaru will have the bishop pair for the game.
This is certainly nice if you're trying to play for a win. Bishop versus knight. Problem is, Denis now has 5 pawns out of his 7 pawns on the dark squares. Anybody watching, you trade a dark squared bishop, you probably need to take control of the game like this. I can't believe the computer thinks like black is slightly better. I don't even understand. Like, it feels with all the flexibility, you're going to push some pawns forward at some point, and then you're going to open up the position. The bishops are going to be happy. Oh, this is tough. I mean, Hikaru hasn't had a better position in 4 games.
And I agree with what you said earlier, that it feels like this has to be the moment for Hikaru. Game 5, his final white. He's trailing by a point right now. The final game will be Denis's white. And he hasn't had a single problem.
No.
It's this or not for Hikaru Nakamura.
It was the same when Magnus played earlier against Nihal. I've seen Magnus have white in a must-hold game, in a situation where a draw qualifies him to the next round. He like never loses. Like he never make a mistake. Always makes the game a draw at least. So Hikaru's got to go for it. How do you? But there's no way to go for it against Denis.
I'll tell you one way you want to go for it is break in the center.
Yeah.
D4 has to be on your agenda if you're Hikaru right now. You're also looking at the black bishop and the knight beautifully placed to walk into a fork. I'm expecting D4 sooner than later.
Yeah, D4 now. Immediately you weaken the square on C4, Denis is going to put his bishop there. And then you just inherently feel like you've done something wrong because he's sort of exploiting all of your pawn pushes. But yeah, I agree. Like, if you don't play D4, what else can you do?
The only way that I see that would justify not going for the central pawn break right now is preparing it further. Bring your bishop out either in front of the rook, either in front of either of the 2 rooks that we have right now, E3 or B2, and then get ready to push the D pawn. But it has to be around that central break. Your bishop pair is only as strong as the open diagonals that you create, and that means pawn breaks.
Absolutely. And Hikaru he's unhappy with the position. He has been wincing throughout this match.
I've never seen a match where Hikaru Nakamura, game after game, is down on the clock. From the start to the end.
No, Denis is a monster. He's so strong. And I said it, I think, in a recap yesterday. If he got to play more over the board chess, all his ratings would be above 2,700. Classical rapid end blitz. And he just doesn't have an opportunity. So you look at him, you're like, oh, 26, whatever his over the board rating is, it's fake. Like, absolutely fake. Okay, D5, and there it is. Hikaru's playing possum. Denis makes every possible improving move again. We have seen this for like 2 hours now. And now he makes the break.
And again, that just speaks of his maturity as a player. He never rushes with these decisions, with these breaks. It's always just optimizing every single piece, making sure they are at their maximal spot before going for a committal decision like the one D5. It's Denis to the center first. He can think about moving the queen up as well. Again, I'm going to point out for everyone watching that pawn on A3 that Hikaru has. It was exactly the weakness in that game that we were earlier referencing to. Black can always realign his rook on the A file. The queen can step ahead, hitting that A3 pawn right now. And Hikaru's got that problem to solve.
Absolutely. He might have to move the rook back, but that just looks sad. Because then he takes his eye off of the pawn that the rook is looking at right now. Right? So I don't know. This is not nice. This position is not nice. Okay.
that's one way to solve the problem.
Yeah.
You get rid of it.
Yes, the problem is that now, as the sides will clash, we're going to head to a position with a lot of trades. All of White's winning chances go out the window. And again, you're in an endgame against Denis Lazavik, who has really shown us that he is rising to the occasion, and he very well could be one of the best endgame players in the world. This is the best position that I've maybe seen for Hikaru, and yet there's no way through. Any move you make now with White, there's a punishment on the other side.
It's like Denis gives no weaknesses to play against.
No.
He keeps everything under control, all pieces well placed.
Tanya,
And then, yes.
I just want to say, we have the computer lines in front of us. I'm not going to yell all the moves out loud. They are all ending in a draw in the next 3 moves. Like
0.0.
Yeah, no. The computer wants to repeat the position for White. It doesn't want to play the position anymore for White, because any move that White makes right now forward has to be a trade. You have to trade rooks. If you don't, Black will swarm your queen, kick you out, or Black is going to win your pawn in the middle of the board. Oh, Black can even push. Tanya, there's also a pawn on H3. Bottom right-hand corner. Like, he can't take it now, but if you kicked away the White queen, you take it on the next move. Hikaru literally has to trade. Look at his face. He knows.
He's struggling to find a way forward, to just create some chances in this one. I mean, it's a 6 versus 6 on the pawns, everything on the same side right now. Black's pieces, beautiful harmony. The bishop on G2 still hasn't opened up. You can't trade in the center. That just walks straight into Denis's hands with placing a nice piece on that D5 square. Hikaru, he's going to be forced to get the rooks off the board. He really wants to keep the majors on the board. Can he be thinking about lining up on the A line right now? Rook A1, is that an alternative?
Maybe some sort of rook A1, but it's...
I'm just relying on the fact that the black queen is overloaded. You can't immediately pick up the H3 pawn. Notice how the knight on C6 is hanging as well.
Maybe we can pull up an analysis board just for a second, because Hikaru's deep in thought and we just show it here. Like, look, effectively, this is a hot spot, and that's a hot spot, and this is a major problem, because the queen can't stay guarding this, attacking this, and then also White has to guard that. So the fact that this is happening on the next move, that's what Hikaru's looking at. You might have to take. Then the bishop comes. This is a problem. You weaken this forever. You lose a center pawn, which you don't want to do. It's a very difficult position. That's why he's down nearly 3 minutes on the clock at this point, 2.5.
And I'm going to show one of the repetitions that you were earlier alluding to. If you go rook a1 and trying to be ambitious by keeping the majors on the board, black can, in fact, start chasing the queen. Rook to a8, and I think giving up the queen for 2 rooks just works into black's hands because there are all these weaknesses, the pawn weaknesses you earlier highlighted. So if you go queen to b5 now, staying connected to the black knight, black can continue chasing the queen back and forth. And that's handshakes immediately. The white queen can't go anywhere else because there's bishop takes pawn.
And this and everything. Yeah, you can't hang out in the middle of the board. I'm always threatening all sorts of stuff. So now, will Denis make a draw there? I don't know. But again,
that would be a boss move to decline a draw. Upper point, 1 game to go.
Yeah, I think he's very practical. I think he would probably just do it. But I mean, yeah, Hikaru. And the thing is, Hikaru's not even stressed. The thing is, you get to a point in this match, you're almost borderline like defeated. He's one of the most mentally resilient players, but you're just sitting there like, what am I supposed to do?
I'm also going to say, Levy, that's no splash of water on the face that we're seeing.
Not anymore. I don't think.
Not anymore.
No, definitely not anymore.
That is Denis making Hikaru sweat right now. We do see the trade that you were pointing out. Pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn is the most human response.
And now, I mean, he really didn't want to do this. It might not seem like a big deal to folks watching to trade a pawn and feel like, you know, you're sitting through a dental procedure. But that is like, look at this. You got to return to the home square. This is not what you want, but it's equal. It's still a game.
You know, when you have to retreat your queen on move 21 to the square that it started with, also boxing up your rook, none of your pieces are pawn to win a game.
Right. Just think about what Hikaru did. He gave away a center pawn, helped his opponent activate his bishop, and then brought his own queen to the home square, and gave he gave Denis a more active rook.
And is he about to give a pawn? Can Denis fall back with the bishop, realign the queen and the bishop battery, hit the pawn on h3, and there's also a rook and queen battery hitting the d3 pawn? Yes. Bishop to e6. How is Hikaru going to defend 2 pawns?
I think he was going to push in the center likely, but and again, it's going to get to a point where everything trades. So now you can push this pawn, right?
Does it?
And if Denis takes the pawn on the right side of the board on h3, Hikaru takes in the middle. Now, if Denis takes in the middle, he's going to take Hikaru with the knight, and then take with the bishop, right? Going to take everything, and we're likely going to get a draw. So ultimately, if this takes this, which I don't think Denis will go for, but we'll see, then we're going to get something like bishop takes, maybe pawn takes, and then the knight goes to the middle. Pretty sharp position where you can trade off some pieces and then maybe go like this. It's very complicated. But another option back here is to instead take like this, and then take like this, and then like this. But then you got to be careful, right? You're going to weaken your king, but still you're going to be up. Let's see what happens.
He goes for the central pawn trade, so he keeps it more solid in the center. And look at this. Denis is just being so professional about it. He just wants pieces off the board, now neutralizing the bishop pair.
I don't think Denis thinks necessarily he's going to win this game, but he's just like, well, Hikaru won't.
You said something about draw with black, win with white strategy. He did win a game with black, Denis Lazavik, in this match.
Absolutely. I think Hikaru was trying to play more for a win with white, and let me tell you something, it didn't work. But I'm not, I mean, nothing could have worked so far. Nothing.
We do see a trade on c6. Denis Lazavik, does he pick it up with the queen? That would invite a pin on the d-file with the black rook unsupported on that home rank. He could go bishop takes knight as well. He goes with the queen. Unafraid is Denis Lazavik of rook to d1.
Yeah, this is just, white cannot accomplish anything in this position. Nothing at all.
The bishop's just beautifully defended at the center. I would say taking that pawn on c3, that requires guts.
Yeah,
although
for
I
sure.
don't see an immediate refutation to it. Queen takes pawn, but I love how Denis is just keeping everything defended. See how the knight supports the bishop, the queen supports the bishop supports the queen. Now the queen also supports the rook. Everything codependence, beautiful harmony. Takes the bishop, you could also take it with the rook, get the rooks off the board.
Interesting moment. Will Denis offer a trade of rooks and sort of happily go to an endgame, knight versus bishop? Or will he play more for a win? Denis is looking at the clock too, being like, I'm up 2.5 minutes. Takes with the rook. Again, very professional. He could have taken with the knight. We would have had some attacking chances. But we're not getting any of that.
It's Hikaru who needs to keep more pieces on the board for those chances, and he denies the rook trade right now. He's threatening to, at least hinting at destroying a black's pawn formation on the right side. Denis says, I'm going to pin your bishop. There's a threat on the board. The c-pawn about to triple down on the pin and win it.
Yeah, I mean, if Hikaru blunders that, you know that it's this is not the peak form. He doesn't.
He steps away from that pin, and now bishop takes knight is a real threat.
By the way, the queen can take the pawn on h3.
I completely forgot about that pawn.
But it doesn't matter, because if you go for that, I play bishop takes knight, and I think Hikaru completely understands that that endgame is a draw. But I mean, this move is a draw offer already.
Queen takes pawn. There are all these ideas of giving a check. The king stepping up, taking the knight, queen checks, but I think at the end of it all, once the dust settles, black has enough defensive resources to make sure that there's not a hanging rook at the center.
Yep, exactly.
And maybe we can bring up that line right now.
Yeah, sure.
To give a check, to take that pawn on h3, you give a check on a8, first forcing the black king on h7, and it looks like white is about to win the queen.
Actually happening.
It's happening. We might see this being played out.
It's happening. All right, let's just go back to the live board. Fantastic. So in this position, if you play pawn takes bishop, and it looks like there's a check just directly in the middle of the board, king is under attack, rook is under attack, all of that is true. In fact, it is a fork. I don't even know if this constitutes a fork because you can defend against it. That's a whole other question. But yes, queen check, you block. With the rook or the queen.
You could block with the queen, and he does it. He's up a pawn right now. Hikaru isn't winning this endgame.
Maybe not with the rook, because there would have been some queen infiltration. But anyway, yes, Hikaru's not winning this.
There were ideas of the g-pawn moving up the board, queen going up the board with checkmating ideas. And this is 4 versus 3. This is what we call a position for 2 results.
Yeah, for sure, for black, of course. It's a position with 3 results for white. Maybe. But yes, 2 results. Black can only win or draw this. Now, the major reason this isn't just like a major issue, or it's about to become a major issue, actually, for white, is the doubled f-pawn for Denis, which he's now looking to maybe give away. Denis has those doubled f-pawns. Tanya, this is very tricky, actually. If Denis manages to push that doubled pawn forward, sacrifice it, and make a pass pawn on the outside of the board, actually, this is terrible for Hikaru. His king can't even walk to the right side.
I'm actually surprised, Levy, that the bar still remains level in this position, because that line looks incredibly terrifying for white right now. Hikaru hates his position. He's been shaking his head the whole game. He wants the rook to defend and fight against that H-pawn. And therefore, your idea on the board, Denis is giving that pawn back to create a passer.
Absolutely, but it's still even because Hikaru, great defending. He doesn't go back down to the first rank of the board. He goes the other way to the 8th rank. He's going to defend from the other side.
Levi, Hikaru has to win a game. Defending this is not enough.
I know, but he's got one last game, and then he's going to go for it, right? At least he's not going to lose.
That would just be match over. If actually Denis wins this game, Denis is through to the finals.
Denis through to the finals, yeah.
Let that sink in.
King F5. Now, yep. And
whoa!
And Hikaru's sacrificing the pawn. He's forcing it.
You can take it, and the king is cut off. The white king cannot come to defend.
This is yeah. It's a losing endgame. Now, obviously, Hikaru's gone for this because he thought he had to. But his king is cut off. Denis is just going to bring his pawn forward and his king.
Levi, Denis Lazavik, the 19-year-old, the youngest player remaining in this field, is about to go through to the finals.
In typical fashion, and without giving Hikaru a single inch, or we are in Paris, centimeter of breathing room.
This is unbelievable. Hikaru's giving up. The black rook cuts off the white king. The black king assists the black pawn, which is going up the board. This is the final few moments of Hikaru Nakamura's run at the EWC.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible scenes. Denis Lazavik, emotionless. He knows it, though. That heart rate, I see it. It's 140, Denis. We see you. Hikaru might just resign this game right now.
A minute left on the clock. No hope left on the board right now. The F-pawn marching up. No checks. Hikaru knows it. Denis knows it. Unbelievable.
And there it is.
And it is Denis Lazavik who goes through to the finals. What a finish with a game to spare. Denis Lazavik takes down Hikaru Nakamura. 2 big wins. Unbelievable. What a moment this is for a 19-year-old. It is his first final at the EWC.
Every event that he plays on the biggest stage, he just gets better and better. He did as best as he could over there in Paris, and now he defeats Hikaru once again in a match. Slightly different format, but he gets the job done. Hikaru didn't have a chance today. Denis was just incredible.
Just look at him and remember the name, Denis Lazavik. It was at the Speed Chess Championship in February. He